Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the VR podcast, episode 16, where our virtual world meets your reality.
I'm V for Vincent.
I'm R for Robert, and
Let's get into this,
we've
man.
got a genuinely interesting episode today because we're talking about some important sports, the Olympics.
There's a lot going on in the sports right now. Yeah.
We're talking about sports movies,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're also talking about a personal ride-along experience I had this last
So I'm
week.
very excited to hear from you because I know you've been talking about how excited you've been for it, and he got the chance to do it Tuesday,
which at the time of this recording was just a couple days ago.
a couple days ago.
So yeah, I got to ride along with a police officer. So stay tuned for that.
Sweet.
But for now, we're going to go straight into the entertainment category. And we're talking about best sports movies of all time.
So there's a lot out there, obviously. Did you have one? I have a couple of mine. I don't know if you wanted to start with yours first.
It's tough because I'm not generally interested in the sports genre.
Are you
of
talking too
movies.
about like objectively best sports movies or subjective?
Just your favorites.
It's your favorites.
Because most sports movies aren't that amazing, if you're being honest, like from a technical standpoint, objective standpoint. Yeah, I'm not that into the sports genre of film, but I do have some favorites. One of them is the original Space Jam.
Yes. I think I've seen it, I believe, once though. It's been a long time at a friend's house.
As hokey as it is, the music's incredible. You can't deny the music. And then the style of blending the Looney Tunes animation with live action.
Yes.
It's weird, but it's iconic. And
yeah.
And also there's just so many memes from the movie, like the stealing the powers.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, it helps that you don't have LeBron James in this one. But because
even Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, yeah. But yeah, it's good that you have animated. I like that they brought the animated factor into it with Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and even to this day, I'll still see YouTube comments on NBA highlight videos and stuff saying, like mentioning the Monstars or mentioning, this player must have had their power stolen by the aliens. I still see people talk about it. And
I do see on my not really YouTube. Sometimes YouTube specifically, I get my shorts and I see like not specific clips of the movie, but people talking about it. So that tells you how long ago was it? I know you don't know exactly.
It's the 90s. The 90s. I believe he did it. I'll look up the year, but I believe he did it when he had his brief retirement doing baseball.
Yes, because I do want to say, because remember he's transitioned to baseball at that time, and that's when sports movies weren't popular then. But I think Space Jam.
1996.
Okay. I was thinking like, that's still, an older one, obviously. I was thinking like 1991 or something, but yeah. Bill Murray was in it, and I didn't even know that. He's from
Larry Bird.
Yeah, Larry Bird was in it, Patrick Ewing. A lot of legendaries, a lot of greats that were in it. Charles Barkley, I didn't know that. Yeah, so it was like I said, I got to go back and watch it again though, because there were some good moments, but also some scenes I probably forgot, but I should remember.
Yeah. And again, it's not a good movie by any means as far as objectively speaking. It didn't win any Oscars, let's just say. Yeah. But it's just entertaining. It's classic, especially if you're an NBA fan.
Yeah, but I guess back then, I don't know if like sports movies back then were like rising in particular like that. But if it didn't make like good of a killing, that's probably because afterwards it took people time to like it.
Do you have a personal favorite sports movie that you like?
I have one that's more modern-ish. It's called Rudy. I don't know if you've
heard of it.
You've heard of it?
It's football.
Yep, it's football. I love stories that deal with like, kind of like David and Goliath, underdog stories, small person, standing up to someone a lot more challenging than them. This one in particular, Rudy plays, he's a football player. He plays the main actor that plays Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the Rings. I'm totally forgetting his name at the moment, but he plays Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings. He is he's the shortest one on the team. From what I remember, he doesn't get picked right away to like join like the games and all that and to play. But I think someone got injured. Like one of the players got injured and he replaced him. And then the coach kind of saw his
potential.
His potential. He still was like getting like rocked every play in practice. He was getting rocked, but he would always get back up. And that's like one of my favorite kind of like things to watch in movies is the underdog story. And there's a lot of like personal things in the movie, not just football, that kind of like he didn't have the best family relationship too. So seeing him try to like help build his family relationship up too, not just the underdog story, but just him like becoming a better character overall. It's pretty cool.
So it's just a feel-good movie.
It was a feel-good movie. I can't remember when it was made, but it was more modern. It was a more modern movie.
That's where Google comes into play.
Yes.
1993. So it's old-ish.
Oh, okay. It is older. Okay, gotcha. There's another modern sports movie that I don't know if we have time to really talk about it too much, but there's another one I had too. But this one is really good, Rudy, for a lot of reasons. I think they won the kind of a championship with him playing, as you saw on the cover there. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to some movies we just want to highlight, movies we watched recently. Yeah. And the one I have relates to sports movies, so I was saving it for this part of the podcast.
Yeah, I have another sports movie happens to be.
Now, this one isn't like your typical sports movie, but it's genuinely, in my opinion, a good movie. Like I would say, probably a great movie. And it's called Moneyball. Have you heard of Moneyball?
Okay, I've heard of it. Haven't seen it. I think hopefully everyone's heard of it, or most people. But what's the plot kind of like about?
It's based on a true story of the Oakland A's, which is baseball, Major League Baseball, and I believe it takes place in 2001 or 2002. So the movie came out in 2011, but it takes place in 2002, I want to say. And the Oakland A's had just come off of a very good playoff run, and they had some good players. But at the end of the season, they didn't win the what do you call it? The World Series.
World Series.
They didn't win the World Series
title.
and they're about to lose a few of their key players because they couldn't afford to pay them.
Okay, gotcha. So we're about to. Interesting.
Because the way Major League Baseball works,
I was thinking money was going to be into play from the title.
Yeah, because the way the Major League Baseball works is that you have rich teams, like the big name teams, that have the money to buy any player they want, pretty much, and assemble basically the Avengers of baseball.
Yeah.
And then you have teams like the Oakland A's, which don't have enough money, so they have to really be very careful with how they spend their money and picking players and stuff. And it discusses a shift in the mindset of the general office, or the GMs, and the management of baseball teams.
So Oakland A's weren't like highly respected in like a
no, they just didn't have money.
They just had money in a way.
Yeah, so they had to figure out a way to assemble a team with losing the players, the key players that they had.
Okay, gotcha. I'm assuming the rich teams like Los Angeles, and then like other
Red
teams
Sox,
like
Boston
Red Sox,
Yankees
that were in it, New York Yankees,
probably the Giants, things like that.
Yeah, Cubs and Giants. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what the GM of the team, played by Brad Pitt, I know. I've been on a Brad Pitt binge for the last several months.
I do remember hearing that he was in it, but I can't believe
he plays the GM of the Oakland A's, and he comes across this kind of nerdy analyst.
Oh, I would say nerdy know-it-all. He's like
nerdy analyst, but in a good way.
In a good way for the film. Okay.
This analyst proposes. He's played by, what's his name? He's in Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill.
Yeah, Jonah Hill. Yeah, Jonah Hill. We know that. Yeah.
And he proposes a new strategy of assembling a team, whereas instead of looking at individual players that can do certain things very well, you try and assemble a team that gets you certain statistics that equate to winning games.
So not players specifically, just like the stats they show.
Yeah, just the players added together give you a certain amount of either runs or getting to base, things like that. Yeah. Just get on paper, if you have all these statistics add up together, you should be winning games regardless of who's on the roster.
That's an interesting way to look at it, because an individual has talents in some areas, but don't have talents in others. If you combine other people's talents, you never know what that can do.
And even though it's baseball, you can kind of relate it to other sports like NBA, how you pay a certain player $50 million a year. where you could be having like 3 or 4 solid role players for that same price. So it was interesting to see how they transformed the entire roster, and basically it's an underdog story essentially. I'm not going to spoil the movie for you, but
I do want to see.
Let's just say they use this unorthodox method. Everyone, like the media, is saying they're crazy.
I was gonna say,
calling to fire him, and it's a very entertaining movie. And
that sounds right up my alley. I mean, honestly, it sounds like a really good one. Yeah, sweet.
And you have one quickly because we're running out of time, but go ahead.
I have one called The Iron Claw that came out a year ago. Yes, this one. Because I consider obviously WWE wrestling a sport. I think everyone pretty much does, even though it's like stage in a way. You know, WWE.
It's a physical activity.
It's a physical activity. I know we had an episode we're talking we're debating over sports exercise and all that, wherever it goes. But this one is the reason why I didn't care for this one too much. Do you know the Von Erich family?
No.
Okay. They were like a legendary the family, the whole family was basically a WWE wrestling team. Not a team, but they competed in WWE wrestling. The dad in it, granted I'm blanking on the names of the dad in it. He is strict on his sons because he like won a lot of like champions with WWE, heavyweight champions. He has 4 kids. 3 of them want to do WWE. The youngest one is more into music. It's based on a true story too of the Von Erich like family. There's something called the curse of the Von Erich family. What happens is like it started I think with like the grandparent I think like someone that wasn't in the movie but the grandparents, and it transcended. One person, like one of the sons, would get injured, like in the ring, and then end up finding that like he has a ruptured lung from like WWE wrestling from injuries. And I don't know if I should really. I guess you spoiled Moneyball, so I guess I can kind of spoil. You didn't really spoil it too much.
No, I didn't. It's to the plot.
But I'll talk about like it was a sad movie because if you know the history of like the curse of the family, not a lot goes right for them. All they had was WWE wrestling, and when that was taken away from them due to like injuries and like illnesses of some kind, they became like a depressed family. I don't really want to talk too much about it, but it's the reason why I like sad movies.
So unlike Rudy, this is not a feel good.
No, this is totally opposite from that. I do like sad movies from time to time when it has a good ending to it, like something you can reflect on and saying it was a sad movie, but it was a positive ending and how I can look on the future. This one did not have that whatsoever. It kind of ended on like a weird, not really cliffhanger way, but it was more of a sober motoring.
So it's like one of those thought-provoking movies that makes you think about life and kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of thought-provoking. It was just overall just really sad though, and like there wasn't a lot of hope after the movie you bring out. But I guess if you're focusing on the true story of the Von Erich family, then I guess that's how you want the movie to go, so you don't portray something inaccurately. But I like sad movies that have like a positive ending. This one did not have a happy ending. But if you guys seen it and disagree, feel free to comment because there's a lot. It was widely liked last year. It came out last year.
Yeah.
2 years ago last year, and it was widely liked like in the sports.
Yeah, Hollywood and
have you heard of it?
They like the more depressing kind of movies, but I feel like life's hard enough. You want to see something that feels good for the most part.
Like you don't want to leave a movie like sad and like all right, now you got to like watch something funny or something uplifting because of the sad movie.
Yeah.
So that was just my thoughts. Like so. Maybe you guys like it like that. Maybe it kind of inspires you to like, hey, I've seen this, but how can I change my life? So, something like that. But it just didn't work for me, I guess.
I can feel that. I mean, occasionally you might want to see something like that, but
yeah,
most part, no. Okay, so transitioning from...
I know that was a sober kind of ending to it, but
let's talk about something positive. Or at least I look forward to this every 2 years / 4 years, depending on which one you care about. But the Olympics is coming up, and by the time this episode releases, it either will just be starting or just have started. I think it will come out like...
I think it's just, like like the first weekend.
Yeah, I think it will already be happening. But the Olympics, yeah.
Yeah, guys, the Olympics. It's a lot.
Taking place in the great city of Paris, and it's been there a couple times, I believe, but it's been a couple decades.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since the last time it's been, but I don't remember. Like it's always in big kind of areas, which is good.
Yeah,
for viewership.
Let's see. So it's in.
Oh wow, that long.
1908, 1948. No, that's London, 2012. French capital become the second city to host the Olympics 3 times after London. Oh, wait, here we go. So it hosted it in 1900 in 1924. So it actually has been a very long time.
That was a very recent article. See, 23 minutes ago.
So it's due. At first, I was like, I feel like they always have it in cities like Paris. Yeah. But 1924 is a long time ago, so I can see them having it again.
Yeah. Because
100 years. It's actually
That's exactly 100 years from now. So it's about time they consider that.
Yeah.
So they consider
I don't know where else they would have in France.
I was gonna say, is it all like what other countries were they? Did they ever have one in Italy?
I feel like it's been in Asia for the last several years.
For the last several years,
like winter and summer.
Because I'm not fully like educated on like where it originated and all that, like where they
the Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, ancient Greece is the one that started it.
Okay.
And it was like all the Greek city-states would come together and compete. But I want to say it was brought back. Maybe let me see. Like maybe the 1800s, I want to say.
Okay. Like Olympics was it was before the 1800s. That's crazy how long ago that was. But yeah. Yeah, first modern
1896.
Wow.
And I believe it took place in Athens. Because we're talking about ancient history.
Yeah, like before, obviously before like we had our modern sports, the Olympics was the only sport. Like people kind of
and the ancient Olympics was just pretty much who's the fastest, who can throw this heavy rock the farthest.
Yeah, it was pretty much the old ways of doing it.
I mean, that's like if you break it down to core human ability. Yeah, that's all you really care about, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's still competition.
Because now we have stuff like curling, where you're sliding this little stone rock around ice.
Is that the one where you see?
Yeah, that's Winter Olympics.
Yeah,
but yeah, so just real quickly, I want to talk about what's like your favorite sport to watch in the Olympics. And by the way, this will be a multiple episode topic.
Yes.
We'll cover more about the Olympics and more specificity of things and medal updates and things of that nature. Yeah. But for right now, just some sports you're looking forward to watching.
Winter or summer?
This one's summer.
This one's summer one. I do like watching beach volleyball. I think it's kind of.
For what reason?
I just like the endurance it takes to and I like volleyball in general. I actually kind of like playing, but if you were to get me to name some players, it'd be kind of tough. But I do know I used to watch a lot of that. Swimming is number one. Swimming. Used to watch highlights of Michael Phelps.
Okay, so the speed,
kind of aspect of
Although the what do they call it? The choreographed. What is it called?
Oh, like
the where they have the routines in the pool.
Oh,
that one can be kind of interesting.
Kind of like the breath. Oh, you talk about the different.
It has a term for it.
Yeah,
that's fun to watch as well.
But yeah, for summer, I know right now pool like swimming and volleyball.
I love track. You gotta watch. Just the fastest man in the world.
It's crazy. I mean,
100 meter.
Yeah, he's the fastest. Yeah, it's crazy how many miles they actually run in an Olympic thing. Like I thought like a 5K is enough for me, but like these people run 5 times that, if that is, they run a lot. And I thought it would be boring to see on TV, but whenever I go to like restaurants, I kind of like see myself glance up at it and see. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite when watching for swimming or volleyball, but
we'll talk about it more in the next episode. But my personal favorite is definitely basketball because we're NBA fans. I love watching basketball. And I've been watching the Team USA scrimmages against some other world teams.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch.
They won last night against France or
Serbia.
Yeah,
they blew them out.
But I think the reason why I don't think of basketball immediately in the Olympics, I'm thinking of like sports you don't really normally would see, kind of like on TV. But yeah, basketball probably my favorite. That was
another fun one that I just watched last Summer Olympics is rock climbing. Have you seen that? They have the speed rock climbing, and it's insane. They're like They crawl it up to look like Spider-Man.
I know.
Better than Spider-Man.
Better than Spider-Man even. Why do we have Spider-Man? No, I've seen very brief images, but they obviously have like protection, obviously, but like maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They would have to, but yeah, seeing how fast they would go up is pretty insane. Like who actually gets to the top.
Because boxing, wrestling's cool. Things
we're kind of talking about things about nature, yeah.
Just look up Olympics in different sports, and you might be surprised of some interesting ones you could watch.
Is there a golf Olympics?
There is.
There is golf.
I watched that just because my dad's into golf, so I do cover that. And there's controversy related to that, but you guys probably don't care about that. As far as who qualifies.
It's a boring sport to watch, or like actually.
No, it's not.
Really?
Especially in the Olympics, there's more like national pride and stuff, so the audience gets more into it. It's not just stuff.
You may need to convince me, man, one day, because I tried watching golf, and
if you want to get into golf, watch the Ryder's Cup or the President's Cup. It transitions one or the other, and that's either Team USA against the international players or Team USA against the European players. And it gets pretty competitive.
It gets pretty competitive.
That's fun to watch.
Sweet, man.
I don't think it has happened yet this year, but yeah.
All
right, so I think we should probably move on to the life category, and I can talk about
the very long-awaited play. Yes.
Yeah. So I had the pleasure and privilege to participate in a police ride-along program, which is where a citizen, a member of the public, can ride along with a police officer.
I got a question real fast.
Yeah.
How did you know, did you already want to do this, or did you kind of know from a friend?
I'll just briefly talk about what it is first. You can ride alongside a police officer or sheriff's deputy for a shift, a whole shift, and just see what they do and go along with them on their calls, and basically the day in the life of a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And how I figured out about it, I'm sort of into watching kind of like body cam footage and stuff like that on YouTube. It can be entertaining just seeing stuff.
Yeah.
And I believe there's this one specific channel called, I think, Officer 401, who's a police officer.
I've probably seen clips.
He uploads videos, and I think this is how I figured out about it. He talked about the ride along program in one of his videos, and I looked into it, and I'm like, this sounds super cool.
Yeah.
And now that we have this podcast, I have a good excuse to do it.
We got a good platform, basically.
Because it's a little bit of a process getting signed up for it. So I had a good excuse to do it. So each department's different. If you wanted to do it, you can look into your local departments. They may or may not offer it.
Yeah.
Okay. But it may or may not be easier or harder depending on the department you go at. So the one I went with was the Alachua County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, so Alachua,
which is encompasses Gainesville and 9 municipalities / cities.
Wow. Okay.
So you have Gainesville in the center, which is a pretty large urban center. I think there's over 100,000, like 150,000 people, and then it's surrounded by very small rural Florida towns. So that's what I went with. The process was relatively easy. I just went to the sheriff's office, signed some paperwork, and then they did a background check, and I was approved.
Yeah, we got to make sure you're not a criminal in hiding sight.
My record is clean, spotless.
I think I can trust that. It seemed like a very normal U.S. citizen. Very good one.
Yeah. I'm a goody two shoes. So, yeah. So basically, I just want to talk to you about my experience and some information that I came across and some stories, because it's pretty insightful.
I'm excited to hear it, man.
Yeah. So for this ride along, I know we have some international listeners. I live in Florida, so it's like Central Florida area, which is rural kind of country, like Southern USA. To give you an idea.
No, it's good to bring.
And yeah, so the area we patrolled was this very small town. I can say the name is Archer, Florida, which is a very small town. I had the population here 1,143 people. So this is rural Florida.
Rural Florida.
And that was our specific zone that we were patrolling.
Sweet, gotcha. So you stayed kind of like in that area for a certain amount of time, right?
The whole day.
The whole day. Okay.
Yeah. And the shift was from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
which is insane. 12 hours. And I asked him about how shifts are broken up.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
ask that. Yeah.
he said there's usually you have like a big week and a short week.
Okay.
So this particular week, in a 7-day span, he's working close to 80 hours.
Wow.
It's insane what like the shifts they have to go through.
So for that specific week or a week in general, wow. Yeah.
So from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then the next day he was doing it again, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
That takes a lot. Yeah, I know, man.
It's crazy, and it's not like a simple job, like demanding as far as mental and like the stakes are high. So to be doing that that frequently, that was crazy to me.
The only thing I would say is if they can stay on that schedule, at least they have a consistent sleep kind of schedule, because they will need that for a 12-hour shift. I'm sure you haven't asked them any questions about that, but
so quickly, I was going to talk about the general experience of what happened. Spoiler alert, it wasn't that eventful. It was a pretty chill day.
Pretty chill day.
Yeah, there's a lot of sitting in the car. I think in the whole day there might have been 5 calls.
Okay.
And it's what you can imagine like a rural city or was like. So we went to like a fallen tree. Had to like clear a tree off the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, things like that. And then
is your pictures of that up?
You're not allowed. I didn't ask, but on the paper it said you're not allowed to like film and record. So I didn't do that. I did get a picture of me in front of the truck, which was a Ford F-150.
Interesting. Nice.
Fit the country. We had country music playing, so I felt like a true, Floridian.
True Floridian.
Driving around the pickup truck. And yeah, he was a very friendly officer. He asked any questions I had, and I'll get more into details and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was like some vagrants on people's property, so we responded to stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was a house where the family was on vacation, and the person that was looking after it, the doors were unlocked. So that was probably the most eventful call.
Part, yeah.
Because they had to go in there and treat it as if someone had broken in. So they went in there with guns drawn and stuff. But and I got to watch the body cam footage, but nothing happened.
Oh,
but as far as the day, it wasn't like I was chasing around bad guys, or we weren't doing pit maneuvers, driving people off the road.
But yeah. No.
Yeah, it was long, and by the latter half, I definitely was tired because 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 6 p.m.
It's a chill day, but like I'm curious, like were there always conversations in the car? Was there like awkward moments, or is there like I'm curious about that.
I'll start with this. The first thing. The first interactions are always tough.
Yeah,
because
obviously, we gotta.
The pickup location, there was no lights. where I got picked up by the officer at 6 a.m. It was pitch black, pretty much. There was no lights there, and he doesn't know me. So I'm like, I gotta make sure he's comfortable meeting me.
Yeah.
So I put the light on in my car, and then he drove up in the truck. And I'm like, how do I say hello? Or
it's like, hey, my name's Robert.
So I was like, good morning, deputy, because he's a deputy. You don't call him like officer. You call him deputy because he's the sheriff's department.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And later on, he was telling me because we were pretty comfortable with each other. Later on, he was telling me how, whenever he like encounters someone, he's got to go through his head and treat it like he doesn't know who you are. So if something happens, or if the person tries something, he has to have sort of a plan of how he has to take out this person. Like if he has to kill this person, how he's going to do it. So he's like,
interesting.
So he did that with me. He's like,
that would have been very uncomfortable, awkward, probably.
I'm like, so basically, is that threat?
I'm kind of curious if it ever happened before. Someone just like someone that's like that was a criminal, like got in, and a cop had to.
Yeah, I can imagine I was pretty threatening. So I can understand why.
Yeah. I know, but
pretty big guy. So
this guy has muscles.
I know.
Muscular.
I know. When we first met, he was very scared.
No,
but
honestly.
That was interesting.
No, sweet. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, man.
Yeah. So I'll just I'll cover some of the information. I have a couple of stories that I want to tell you. That was probably the most interesting part. The stories he told me about the crazy things he's experienced.
Okay.
But first of all, the difference between the sheriff's office and police department. So police departments are for a city or municipality.
Yeah,
town.
like an
Sheriff's office covers the whole county. And as far as their functions go, they're the same. They pretty much do the same thing from a day-to-day basis.
The had like a higher, I guess, power.
No. The county has. I was talking about, is there a rivalry? And he said technically, if he wanted to go to a call where the city police department was showing up, he can take control. He has the higher authority as the sheriff's office, but he doesn't do that because he wants to have friendly relationship.
Like a friendly relationship with the
department. And if either one of them need help or backup, he can respond and help. So there is they work together. They're not like butting heads all the time.
Yeah. But I would think you would need kind of work together.
One of the biggest differences, though, is that the like if you need backup, police department's backup's pretty close. If you're a sheriff, your zone, you're the only officer in your zone, so backup's like 20 to 30 minutes away.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So you have to know what you're doing, because if you're in a tight situation, you're stuck by yourself for 20, 30 minutes.
You're saying like a sheriff, like from a
sheriff
department?
Deputy
or sheriff deputy,
sheriff deputy.
Local...
For him in his zone, if something happens, he's got to be prepared to handle that situation by himself for 20 to 30 minutes.
Interesting.
So pretty much the length of this podcast before backup can show up.
Interesting. Wow.
And FHP, which is Florida State Patrol, State Trooper, it's even worse. There's less officers per zone.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that was in play. I thought you would always get backup, no matter what. But I mean, you do get backup in that amount of time. I thought like when you go out into your local, like there's like police kind of like nearby still. But
for cities,
for cities that would be.
But where we were in rural Florida, no, but.
That makes sense, because I mean the world's big, and like the rural areas, you're not going to get.
Yeah, if you do something in Gainesville, it's not like you can get away with it. Like if you do something in Gainesville, there's going to be cops.
Could be right on there.
And we're in Florida. I don't know if you've seen some footage of Florida. They don't mess around, the police.
Oh, but Georgia in particular. I don't know if you've heard about that, but driving through Georgia for very this is like speed limits, but are very strict on speed limits. Actually, I never got pulled over in my life, knock on wood. But yeah.
So I want to talk about this episode might be a little longer, but it's okay.
Hey, it's all good. My man's got like a whole novel.
I did some preparation for this.
No, you needed to.
So I asked him about like how does psychology play a role in interactions, and he said as a police officer, you have your protocol, but you also have to be able to interact with people. So you're kind of a bunch of things. You could be you're like a social worker, you're a law enforcement person, you're like a counselor at times. You have to be a mechanic, help people with their car. There's like a lot of jobs that encompass being a police officer.
Interesting. Yeah. See, I wouldn't think of it as those ones in particular. Yeah,
like he has to be able to read body language and read situations pretty well. And I was asking him that if he felt his academy training prepared him for on the field, and he just said no. You can have all like the paper training you want and protocol and stuff, but it's
different when you're out there.
When you're a sheriff's deputy and you're the only one out there in the zone and something's going down, you have to like really think about it, like use common sense and stuff like that nature. You can't just rely on what you did on some test to save you, because every situation is different. There's like a huge zone of what things.
If you're gonna be someone like that too, I feel like you need instincts as well. Kind of like not just like from the paperwork and all that, but
And so if we have time for that, I'll cover that. All right, so we'll get to more interesting things, I think.
Yes.
So basically,
I thought it was all interesting. Some more interesting. He keeps going.
I got some pretty cool stuff. So I was asking him, because like the day's going by and nothing's really happening. How do you stay sharp for like all of a sudden something's going down?
Yeah,
and
if you had a rough night of sleep, how do you like stay sharp?
And he was saying how like some days nothing will happen, and all of a sudden, like I don't know, there's some shots fired call somewhere, and then you have to like turn it on and be ready to go.
Well, that reminds me kind of like what a doctor has to do, like some days they don't.
Yeah, and he was telling me about the mental toll it takes, because even though nothing's happening during that whole shift, you have to be alert, and like you always have that anxiety and stress of every person has potential to kill you or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like even when he met me, he has to have that mental anguish or whatever is on him, even though nothing's happening.
Interesting.
And he was
Did
telling
you feel like tension from that, or like was it normal?
No, because I had I prayed beforehand. I'm like I wouldn't be nervous. It would be a smooth interaction, and I wasn't nervous.
So you're up early. I remember when I got off my shift, you texted me then because you're getting ready. It was like 5:20 a.m.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're probably getting prepared and mentally prepared.
Yeah, I had most of everything prepared in like the last 10-15 minutes. I just left. Made sure I had enough time where I just prayed about the day, make sure everything was safe and that there wasn't any nerves. And I
really should have asked one of my friends, because I have friends who like who have at least worked at the police academy, or who are not there anymore. But I have had friends, and I could have asked them questions to ask you. But you seem like you were like very prepared for them. So maybe I need to.
Yeah. So he was telling me how the lifespan of police officers is significantly shorter because of the mental toll. And I looked it up, and like it's like up to 20 years shorter than the normal lifespan.
I mean, it makes sense, but
because of heart attack or something, just because their heart can't take it anymore. Stuff of that nature. So it's a tough job.
Yeah. And gotta be thankful for police officers. I swear.
We're running out of time. Do you think it's okay if the episode goes over 40 minutes?
You know,
we can edit.
It's a special episode. This one's a special one.
Because I have more I need to talk about.
I don't think we even need to edit. Let's keep going. They've seen 2-hour movies. I think they can do a couple more.
We're gonna shift drastically.
Oh, jeez.
I wasn't expecting this, but he was giving me a tour around the town. And he would point out this, there was this one house. I basically saw the whole town, small town.
Yeah.
And he's like, that house is super haunted.
Oh, so he's driving along. Hey, buddy.
And then I was like, that sounded intriguing. I'm like, wait, do you have any paranormal experiences? And he's like, he has more than he can keep track of.
I didn't. Wow. Is that like for all? I wonder if that's for all police officers.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the case. Because they go into some pretty weird spaces, and at nighttime too, because he used to do the night shift.
Yeah.
And I'll cover a couple, but he was telling me, there was like this one time he was at responding to an alarm call, like where an alarm went off at some church in the middle of the night.
Oh, in a church.
And he went there, and there was a cemetery next to the church, and he was looking at one of the gravestones, and what he described as a shadow figure squished right in front of him. Like it wasn't a person, it was like this
shadowy apparition. Yeah.
Went right in front of him, and he was looking around, and there was nothing there. He was the only one there. It was late at night. And there was another one where there's this creepy house, and he was standing on the porch, and he heard this guttural growl that didn't sound like any animal. And it sounded like it was like right in front of him or under the house. And he used a flashlight, looked under the house. There was nothing there.
I'm good.
Like this growl. Yeah, a lot of times he's like, and then I left.
And then I left at the rest. To be continued. I don't think he ever went back. Long story.
Yeah,
short.
And there was another time where there's like this small little plot of trees, and you heard children laughing in there at dusk time.
Oh my gosh.
Span the whole thing, nothing there.
You got worse. The children laughing. That's
Another time he was going through a school, like clearing it because a fire alarm went off. I think it was at nighttime, and a door slammed right behind him. Checks it out, no one there.
Oh my god.
And there's story after that. Another time he was going in the basement of a house.
Yeah.
And there was no one in the house, and he was in the basement. Oh, by the way, there was a creepy mannequin upstairs. Yeah, just in
more detail, with
a wig on. Yeah. It was downstairs, and this smash sound, like this huge bang from upstairs happened. They had a canine with them.
Yeah.
The dog starts going crazy. They let the dog go. The dog goes up there. They go upstairs, and the dog's ripping that mannequin apart. Oh, but there's no one there. But so where that smash come? Gosh. Yeah, things of that nature. And I was asking him.
You should have asked him if his episode was on a Mr. Ballin episode. Like his story was on a Mr. Ballin episode.
I used to look into that. There, you can find videos of like police encounters with paranormal. There's crazy ones you can find on.
I know there's nurses because they have
it sounds like what I was talking to him about before he became a deputy. Did he believe in the paranormal? And he didn't believe in it at all.
Interesting.
And then after, he's like, well, this is stuff I can't explain. And every officer has stories like that.
Wow, you would make a good interviewer. I feel like you would make a good interviewer, man. But experiences. He never took you, hopefully, to one of the houses that was haunted.
We drove by it.
You
can't go in it because it's private property.
Well, that's enough to give me.
I was like, yeah, we can drive. And he had one experience with the cemetery, and he's like, I'll show you. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're driving to this old cemetery. Thank you very much.
Well, do you know you're gonna see him digging up?
Yeah. There was one cemetery where he said it was an empty cemetery, and you could see the whole cemetery from where we were. There was this guy walking, and he glances down for a second, looks back up, and the guy was gone. And there's nowhere he could have gone, and he looked around, he couldn't find him. Stuff like that.
Oh, I got it. Okay. I have a story, but I know we're already going over time about a cemetery, but wow.
Yeah.
Is that a lot?
Yeah. And then is rural, so I asked
Well, it
him.
also stands for like their mental capability, because if you have that many paranormal stories, not even on top of crime stuff, paranormal stories, and he's still able to do his job like as good as how he does.
You know what? This is a special episode. It's gonna go really long.
It's gonna go over.
It's gonna go very long. But
I don't care.
We're only recording 2 episodes today, so we have time.
Yeah. I don't got work.
I thought about it. I'm like, should I not have as much stuff? But yeah. And it's a rural country, so I asked him about if he had any crazy animal stories, and he told me about this time he was chasing around a goat for an hour.
A goat.
I'm like, it sounded like the plot to an Andy Griffith episode. Because I'm pretty sure there was an episode where they were chasing around some goose for a long time.
Or if you've seen The Boys, there's like flying goats now. So hope he doesn't see one that takes off.
Yeah, and like deers, and sometimes they have to euthanize an animal because I remember the issue. Yeah, but there's reasons for it, and then you have to like make sure you're not doing it in the public eye, shooting.
I'm sure he's been in like, I wonder if he's been in like woods, like he's had to like go in like woods to see like if there's hidden drugs or something, and he sees like animal like dead animals there or something. That would be creepy. If I see like a circle of dead animals or something, that'd be weird. Yeah, but
yeah, and one of the positive aspects of the whole experience is that he seemed to know pretty much everyone in town. Like, he would say hello to everyone because it's a small town.
Yeah, it's like a local.
And if there was someone walking down the street, he would point them out, and he would know them.
He would know.
There's someone walking around. Either he had calls with them, like they're trouble, or he just knew them. And yeah, he would tell me stories about various people in the town that are a little eccentric, a little crazy.
Oh yeah.
You know, type of people that live in like a shed in the forest or something. And yeah, I'm not gonna like give details because it's personal people, but yeah, it was just fun hearing about the different experiences stuff.
Yeah. He's definitely got stories, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And of course he has the stories that are more traumatic. Like, he's seen some pretty crazy accidents where
I think like normal like accidents, like car. He probably spent
car accidents. Those are sometimes more graphic than people, because people get messed up in car accidents.
I've seen
fires and things.
Have you ever seen an accident happen before your eyes? I've seen it happen.
Yeah, not a serious accident, but I've definitely seen accidents happen.
I don't know if it was serious for mine, but I've seen a Jeep, I don't know, no, it was a truck, flip over twice.
I haven't seen anything like that.
So, and I see people get out. It looked like they're fine. But imagine flipping over twice. I would think you would have a major accident. But we prayed over them. We're like driving for the interstate. I forgot where we're going, but like when we saw that, we instantly prayed for them to recover. Because that was like trauma. For me back then, I was like 13 when I saw that, 13 or 14. And I think we're driving through Virginia to get to like Florida or Florida to Virginia, because we lived in Virginia at that time. And I remember being traumatized a bit from that.
How old are you?
Like I said, I think I was like 14, 15-ish. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, a lot of experiences, like you said.
And yeah, he was talking about, but based on all this information, that it's hard to find people that want to be officers these days for various reasons.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I want to say that, like, I know people say it's hard to find jobs in this economy.
I wonder if that's one of the shortest. I wonder if that is becoming like very few like officers. And
like if you're looking for a job, because people say it's hard to find a job in this economy, and if you're cut out for it, but by no means is it easy work. But
there's a lot of fields.
You could go into being a police officer, and there's open.
Or if you don't want to like go directly on duty, I know my friends would work. One of them I used to work with at Lowe's, he would be in charge of like a prison cell. Actually, he would work in a prison area. So if you didn't want to like go out and like do missions, I mean, it's still kind of dangerous even in a jail cell. You never know if a potential breakout could happen. But I think every position there has at least some risk, involved, because you're the police.
Real quickly, I just want to cover some little interesting factoids.
Yes.
So, police
facts you got from him, or facts you're
in my research and from him.
Yeah.
So one things I did to prepare is I wrote down 10 codes and signals for police, because that's how they communicate on the radio.
Yeah.
So because I know you probably heard 10-4, that's the most common.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's a plethora of 10 codes, and it's different from agency, like police agency and state. Yeah. So I looked up one specific for Alachua County, so I was able to understand what was happening.
Sweet, man. Yeah, yeah. But no, yeah.
And then
I think 10-4 is used now. I know it's used widely.
Yeah, and then I asked him once you get pulled over, what's the best way to act so that way the officer knows everything's fine. And it's you roll the windows down and you have the light on and your hands on the steering wheel. That's the best way.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, that's an interesting way.
Because then you can see your hands and the lights on so you can see, and the windows down so you can hear you too.
You kind of see that in kind of movies, but they don't portray it like so accurately. But yeah, I could see because you don't want them immediately to, plot a gun.
Yeah, because you might be pulling out your wallet, but he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that, and especially if you don't say it right away. So yeah.
Yeah, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, I probably missed something, but that's pretty much the whole experience. So I don't know if you had any questions or anything you want to talk about.
I know there was like a lot. Like I said, I would probably my friends probably had some very interesting ones, but you seem to have gotten it, man, on yours. So yeah.
I think I did it justice covering it. I think I talked about everything.
And in their breaks, like lunch breaks, they can eat in their car.
Yeah, they have. I think they're allowed 30 minutes, but if there's a call, you don't have a lunch break. You have to go to the call.
I was gonna say, if you're on your break, does someone else replace them, like that officer?
No, like I said, he's the only officer in that zone. So he's the one.
I can't imagine. I know at my work, I do 9-hour shifts, and if I don't go to lunch break, I'm I'm gonna be tired.
Oh, from that. I forgot one thing. It was actually his birthday. That day.
Whoa!
So people are wishing him happy birthday, and I'm like, yeah. So
that's awesome, man. During the end, you probably took you to the place. That's awesome.
Yeah. Someone gave us, because it was his birthday. Someone gave us gift cards.
Okay.
To Chipotle, so that's very nice of them. So
yeah,
I didn't even have to pay for my lunch. It was very nice. He's a very nice officer.
Chipotle is one of my favorite places. I'm kind of jealous.
It's actually my first time going.
Oh yeah, you told me. Yeah, you told me you never been. What'd you get?
Not bad. I got a chicken bowl with rice.
Yeah, it's only like $9.
Yeah, it was filling. Good. Yeah, it was good. Chipotle's not bad.
Yeah, man. So that's a good end of the day for sure. I would say, yeah.
And
do you recommend me going
to Chipotle?
No, on a police ride along.
If you have the time, I would do it.
Okay.
And if you want to,
does it do weekdays? Is it any day you can go?
You can put any day because police work 24/7. You just have to make sure it's a PD.
Yeah, they never get off.
But yeah. Alachua County was pretty easy. I think Marion County opposite, but the process seemed a little bit harder, so I didn't go for that.
I'll definitely tell my family so they not for them to want to go, but just because it's cool insight and cool.
It's interesting.
I think people should know. It's something that people maybe not necessarily need to know, but it's very cool to at least observe and learn. So I'm glad for you, man. I'm glad it was a good time. I wish.
Shout out to the officer. I would say his name, but I don't know if he wants me to say his name, so I'll leave it confidential. Okay. But he was very nice, and he might be watching because he said he's going to check out the podcast. And yeah, thank you for the awesome experience.
Man. All right, man. Well, I wanted to thank you if you ever want to taking my buddy, man, on the podcast.
And happy birthday.
Yes.
All right, so we got to do the devotional, and I made sure it kind of went along with the experience.
I feel like you would need to after a episode like this. Yeah.
So it's in Romans, and it's 13, chapter 13, verses 1-3, and it says, "Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For our rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same."
Oh, nice. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities. I like that in particular. Because for there is no authority except from God.
In that the governing authorities that do exist are appointed by God. Like God allowed them to be in place.
We can think of it as like a worldview, or you have government in place.
Yeah.
And you have
everything, just authority.
Companies and authorities in general, or the Christian side of things is we have control kind of of our lives and getting people to Christ. But we can look at it both ways. I mean, it's a good verse.
I know a lot in modern society and stuff, it's a lot of people don't respect authority on both sides. Like they disrespect the other side, or whether it's political or just police officers.
Yeah, and no one seems to get along with anything anymore.
Yeah, you can disagree with something, but you can be respectful.
Be respectful.
Yeah, and respect the law, and respects the person that was entrusted with carrying out, enforcing the laws too. And I mean, even in Bible times, the disciples, they were getting arrested all the time
Yeah.
for preaching and stuff, which, yeah, they honored God. They didn't stop honoring God in order to please the authority. But even with being arrested and stuff, they're still respectful to authority. They went along. It wasn't like they started, rioting, doing crazy things. And even when Jesus was arrested, how Peter chopped off the guy's ear, Jesus told him not to do that. And he healed the guy's ear. So God, he wants us to respect authority, regardless of who's in authority or their beliefs or whatever. He wants us to make sure.
Yeah. And he also doesn't want us to be like, I'm sure there was moments where disciples were afraid of that authority. Like it says here, you want to be unafraid of your authority. He calls us to not be afraid of a challenge, or I guess you could say challenge, but just to be confident in like what we believe and like what we stand up for.
Yeah.
And
that if you need,
like you said, being respectful.
And if you need protection, God's going to have your back. Like if there's some tyrannical authority or whatever, God's gonna protect you.
There's no like feeling that's better than knowing God's got your back no matter what failure or whatever mistake you made in life. There's always a coming back, because especially if you're a Christian, but believing in Christ and all that. So I love this verse. I actually don't read it as much as I should, because I do love Romans. I just don't really touch on this one specifically. So I like how you related it to your ride along, and yeah, it's a pretty good verse, man. I like it.
Yeah. And I guess we can just wrap up in prayer then.
Yeah, because we kind of applied it already to the life experience, ride along, and all that. So we can go pray. Pray.
All right. Okay, thank you, Lord, for allowing us to conduct this podcast. And I pray that we were able to convey the information in a way that honors you and that people can understand and apply to their lives. And I just want to take some time to pray for all the law enforcement officers in our country and around the world, that you would protect them. I pray a hedge of protection around them, and that you would have, guardian angels to go alongside them and just comfort their minds, knowing that you have their back, and that as long as they're honoring you, that you'll protect them. And I pray that citizens of this country and around the world will respect authority, because that reflects your authority, and that if they are capable of respecting authority on earth, they're capable of respecting your authority. And I pray for everyone listening, and that they'll have a great weekend. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, man. Yeah, what a good episode. I wonder if he ever, I wonder if he's a Christian. He probably not going to tell his views on that specifically, but experiences like he's experienced can bring people to Christ. I don't know if he has, if he talked about it, but I'm hoping,
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm hoping he listens to this.
And be encouraged for what we're trying to I wouldn't say preach, but trying to tell you guys.
A major part of this podcast is outreach, even though we start off with all the other topics. We do want people to come to Christ through this podcast if possible.
And like I said, we have ideas for that,
it's just, I take it very seriously. So whenever we do have a more heavy spiritual episode, I want it to be well prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely just keep watching our videos. We definitely have plans, and we can't wait to tell you guys.
Yeah. If you've been listening for 50 minutes, that's how long this episode is, I thank you for listening.
Almost an hour, right?
Yeah, because we need the watch time. Because that's another thing. We officially have an Instagram and a YouTube. We'll announce it on the next episode too. Okay. But we do have a YouTube now and an Instagram. So how we've been saying comment. You can comment on there, or you can DM us on.
We've been saying that for quite a while now. You guys may be wondering, where's the YouTube channel? Well, surprise! Here we have it. So, do we have? Like I said, we posted on our stories and all that. We encourage you guys to reach out and just. If you don't even subscribe, it's fine. Just comment on ideas for next videos, because we get more ideas from you guys. So we appreciate that. We appreciate everything you guys do.
All right. Thank you for listening, and have a great week.
All right, guys.
Podcast out.
Yes.